Developing right now, the Trump campaign shakeup. This might be a sign of a new direction for the general election. So what is the RNC doing to help Donald Trump defeat Secretary Hillary Clinton? Chairman of the RNC, Republican National Committee, Ryan Priebus, goes on the record. Nice to see you, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Greta.
Okay, so how did you hear the news about Corey Lewandowski?
Well, look, I mean, I talked to the campaign over the weekend and talked to him on Monday, but today. But this is a new direction for the campaign. I think, you know, when you look at the shift from a primary election over to the general election, this is sort of the professionalization that continues, the pivot to the presidential. I think it's a good sign, I think, for the campaign. Paul Manafort's a pro. I think by building the apparatus around someone who's been through a presidential campaign is a good thing, and people should look at it as a good thing.
But Corey Lewandowski brought him here.
Sure.
He got him this far, and so, you know, so where's sort of the loyalty or the recognition that he got him this far?
Well, I think there's been a lot of loyalty. You know, there have been a lot of ups and downs, I think, along the way, and there was a lot of loyalty, but I think you get to the point where you say, look, we've got the presidency of the United States on the line, and it's not just for someone to win an election, it's for the future of our country. It's for potentially 3 or 4 Supreme Court seats. So I think this pivot, this seriousness that you're seeing right now, I think everyone should look at this and say, this is good.
Well, it's sort of the way that it happened. It's sort of unceremoniously.
Well, there's nothing good about it. I mean, there's no way to do it.
He could have made him like chairman emeritus or something. You know, something. Look, I mean, this looked like a firing.
No, but it looks. But here's the thing. Whenever you do something like this, you have to pivot and make a change. You can't. There's no way to work a presidential campaign with competing factions and competing understandings of what the right approach is going to be, and then leave someone kind of in the back seat and then put someone in the front seat, and the person in the back seat saying one thing, the person in the front seat saying another. It just doesn't work. There is 4 to 5 months left. I think from the outside looking in, as I'm watching this, just like you are and everyone else out there, to me, when I see something like this, I see a pivot to the general, a seriousness to the general that looks good for getting this campaign in a place that is going to be competitive against Hillary Clinton.
Well, Corey Lewandowski, to his credit, he did not seem bitter. He told Dana Bash at CNN that he still supports Donald Trump. So
I thought it was very classy the way that he handled today, and I think it was a good sign.
What are you doing as chairman of the RNC to help Donald Trump at this point, because he's now got his eyes on beating Secretary Clinton?
Well, the job of the RNC is to build up the infrastructure, the ground game, the data operation for both our Senate candidates, congressional candidates, and our nominee. I would say 4 years ago, I don't think the RNC was as prepared as we are today, because largely we were building an RNC from scratch. I think if Mitt Romney had the RNC of today, he would have won. So in the same sense, our nominee is going to be inheriting not just a few people on the ground, but hundreds of people on the ground, 500 people as of today, data that we put over $100 million on the ground. Yeah, absolutely.
As big a ground game as the Democrats have?
Well, if you compare the RNC versus the DNC, there's no comparison. The problem is the DNC is not our competition. Hillary Clinton's our competition. The DNC doesn't have an infrastructure and a ground game. It's Hillary Clinton that has an infrastructure and a ground game. So when you combine the nominees' operation and the RNC's operation, we're going to be very competitive. And I got to tell you, we've done, I think, a great job in getting our operation to a place that it hasn't been in decades. And I think people, when it comes to ground game data, and I understand this is boring stuff.
No.
But these are the things that allow us to win close elections. And if you don't have your mechanics straight, you can't win.
All right. Our home state of Wisconsin is a very close race. Former Senator Russ Feingold against incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Where does that race stand?
Well, I think it's great that Russ Feingold's running again. I mean, he's a failed candidate. People know the product.
People like him in Wisconsin. He's well liked.
But Wisconsin doesn't let people they don't normally allow people to come back after they lost. I mean, it just hasn't worked. Retreads haven't worked in Wisconsin. Now, as far as the fundamentals go, the thing that Ron Johnson brings to the table is, you know, being in business, being a guy from the outside, being a guy that says, you know, what he means and means what he says. And look at the polling. And the polling's really close right now in Wisconsin, and that's a good sign for the general election for Ron Johnson.
Well, we'll be watching it. You and I particularly pay attention to that state. Also, we also have the Speaker of the House is from our state, too, as well.
You bet. And he's my congressman.
He's your congressman. All right, he's not mine. I'm farther north. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, nice to see you.
You bet.